Well, it hasn't been very long since the last sport episode of the season, and we all know how that episode ended, but perhaps maybe the writers learned a thing or two and found a way to improve the sport-themed episodes. They managed to improve upon Marry-to-Well with 28 pranks later, so that's a good sign, right? Sadly, it appears that sport episodes just aren't a strong point for the writers this season. We had a good run of green flag episodes going, but unfortunately that streak stops at 3. What is it about Buckball season that ruined it? Grab a bottle of Gatorade and let's find out. Let's get the positives about the episode out of the way. The episode starts out extremely strong with a great slow motion gag of AJ trying to buck an apple toward a target, which ends with her landing on her back and another apple hitting her in the face because Rainbow screwed her up. And the best part is, the episode completely delivers on good gags. I honestly didn't expect this episode to be filled with gags, but they were a pleasant surprise. Pinky whispering about Rainbow and Applejack knowing that she and Fluttershy weren't unicorns was hilarious. The montage of the unicorns missing the balls were great, and I think the best one was the unicorn that twirled her basket so much that she got sick. And Snails. Yes, Snails was actually funny in this episode, especially his line of "don't think about it" at the end. I mainly loved how that line was proven by how nonchalant he acted all throughout practice with his different poses, like the meditation pose. Plus, I actually kinda liked his "Carrying My Water" song. He's definitely got the dimwit character and voice down, which can be like cheese grating your ears if you use too much, but here he was used in the best way possible for comic relief, just for quick jokes to keep a certain lightheartedness element for the story. He only appeared when he was useful for a good joke and didn't overtake a scene to the point where he got on your nerves like in Ghostbusters. I think his best gag was when he appeared after Fluttershy's meltdown. After kind of a heartbreaking moment where Pinky and Fluttershy run off crying and Rainbow and Applejack sit there in shock, him popping up was just so unexpected that I burst out laughing. Another positive about the episode, and one that I give major props to the writers for, is the ending. I can't tell you how much I love pretty much everything about it. I'm so done with the tired cliche of characters confessing that they don't want to participate in something right before or right at the start of a competition, and the only reason they didn't say anything is because they were afraid of disappointing or letting down other characters if they fail. Look, being afraid of disappointing someone is a legitimate fear, but I just hate how certain TV shows or movies have characters wait till the last second to confess, and then we get the cliched, sappy speech about they love them no matter what, or just because they fail it doesn't mean they won't want to be friends anymore. Having Pinky and Fluttershy come out and say it, albeit tearfully, on the train ride with a lot of time left before the Buckball game was great, especially Fluttershy's out of nowhere epic rant. A weaker show would have had the characters wait until it was game time for the confession, leaving really no more time in the episode for anything else to happen. However, while I love that Fluttershy and Pinky chose to confess when they knew it was time, it was so clever to have Rainbow and AJ trick them into having fun with Buckball again. It would have been such an easy crutch to have them go through a cheesy and overly sappy speech to make Pinky and Fluttershy feel better, and then the girls would have shed a few tears and shared a group hug. By just simply stating that they'll take their spots in the game and they don't have to worry about anything, we avoided what would have been such an easy spot to still insert the overly sappy speech. It was just nice and to the point for all 4 of them actually. Avoiding a drawn-out speech and a drawn-out apology to get Pinky and Fluttershy rekindling their joy for Buckball by having them play against AJ and Rainbow was just perfect. And as I said before, really clever by having the latter two fake it being a practice for themselves. Plus, we get a sassy Fluttershy playing Buckball. What more do you want? As for the moral, I liked it. I found it really relatable how someone can really stress you out over something and in turn you become afraid of letting them down. And then once the stress takes over, the fun is gone and you become miserable. What you at first found to be fun and exciting or even relaxing becomes pretty much your worst nightmare because in the back of your mind, disappointing a close friend or a parent is one of the worst feelings imaginable. Plus, I'm glad that AJ and Rainbow also learned that different people are good at something for different reasons than your own. Coaching someone else the exact way that worked for you may not work out very well. The perfect example outside the episode is comparing the driving styles of Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon. Kyle Busch is good at racing because he'll do whatever it takes to get to the lead as soon as possible and try to fend off the position until the checkered flag waves. While Jeff Gordon, back when he was a full-time driver, was good because he would slowly and methodically save his equipment and let other more aggressive racers wear out both themselves and their cars from racing so hard, leaving Jeff enough strength and car to pounce on opportunities in the latter half of races. In the same way, way that Jeff and Kyle learned what works better for them for racing, AJ and Rainbow Dash realized that Fluttershy and Pinky were phenomenal at Buckball simply because they only saw it as a way to have fun and enjoy themselves and by not thinking about it too much. Again, great morals. Now, with all this, I'm sure some people are wondering what I didn't like about Buckball season. Well, despite hilarious gags, a great and unique ending, and great morals that kids and sport parents can learn, right after AJ and Rainbow Dash discover how amazing their friends are at Buckball, it was so painfully obvious that they would run Pinky and Fluttershy so hard that they would stress them out to the point that they couldn't play without fear of letting them and all of Ponyville down if they lost. That whole scene where Rainbow pretty much set up a Pegasus version of a marine obstacle course was just so completely by the book that even the creativity of the obstacle course and the few gags with Fluttershy getting nervous and how Pinky kept making baskets with different poses wasn't enough to make up for it. Even Rainbow yelling at Fluttershy to get better and Applejack pulling the certain record could get tarnished if you fail card was too obvious. Thankfully though, once the group boards the train, the episode gets right back on track. But do you know what could have been better? Take out the whole obstacle course and the one-on-one training and have Rainbow and AJ keep playing against Pinky and Fluttershy to sharpen their skills for the big game, since that's how they discovered how good they are. And since they're so good, the biggest Buckball fans in town could catch wind of what was going on and they form a crowd to cheer on and praise Fluttershy and Pinky for their talents. Then after Rainbow and AJ congratulate them on working hard and willing to play for Ponyville, Fluttershy and Pinky start to stress themselves out. We don't even have to see them start messing up. It could all be in their head that they will screw up. Then the ending scene on the train with Rainbow and AJ tricking them could still work. Plus, the moral about stressing out too much and how winning isn't worth making yourself miserable can stay intact. The only difference would be Rainbow and AJ wouldn't have to learn anything. So those are my thoughts on Buckball season. There were some parts I absolutely loved, but they weren't enough to make up for such a by-the-book conflict started up by AJ and Rainbow pressuring Fluttershy and Pinky to the point they're afraid to play and let everyone down. Yes, the ending was a unique spin on how these types of stories usually go, and of course the gags were hilarious and the morals were good, but even then it's just not enough. I think Buckball season is a high yellow flag episode. It just barely missed crossing into green flag territory, and if Fluttershy and Pinky had pressured themselves instead, then this episode would have crossed over easily. But compared to the other sport episode, it's a lot better. But I'd really love to know what you thought of Buckball season. I'm Mr. Left Turn. I'll see you when I get back from the track.